Hello friends, welcome you all to the next lecture of the JC eConnect series of online lectures. We are into module 4 and discussing the topic centroid. In the previous lecture, we have gone through the important steps which we need to follow to obtain the solution for the examples on centroid. Further, we have discussed 6 key points which you have to take care of while solving the examples. So let's again brief up those 4 points and start with the examples in this lecture. So as told earlier, we will be following 4 important steps. The first step is to analyze the figure and locate the axis about which we want our centroid to be located. Divide the figure into number of elemental areas of well-defined shape and obtained area of each element. Obtain the centroidal distances with respect to the axis. Last step is obtain the coordinates of the centroid. So let's start with example number 1. Obtain the centroid of the T section shown in the above figure. So we will be basically following those 4 steps which we have discussed. Now, as you are dealing with the flanged sections for the first time, now what I mean by flanged section are elements such as T, L, I are termed as flanged sections. Okay, because the top vertical element, as I have marked there, okay, the top horizontal element, sorry, is termed as a flange, whereas the vertical element is termed as a web. So if you have a T section, you have one flange and one web. If you have a I section, you have two flanges and one web. So it can happen that question can come such that they will mention only T section and give the dimensions of the flange and the web. They may not give the figure. So knowing what is flange and what is web is important, and by that you will be able to draw the figure yourself. That's why in this first example I have mentioned what is a flange and what is a web. So let's proceed with the solution of this example. So now step 1, we have to locate the axis, because in the given example there is no axis given. So first start with locating the axis with the figure. So now I have taken the standard x and y axis such that the entire element lies in which quadrant? First quadrant, so that analysis becomes easier. So locate the axis so that the figure lies in the first quadrant. Now every time it may not be possible, okay, but wherever possible do this. If the axis is not given, if the reference axis is given, please follow the given reference axis only. Next, the figure is, now when we look at the figure is symmetrical about which axis? Vertical centroidal axis. That is, if we cut the figure vertically, left part and right part will be same, okay, or will be mirror image of each other. So x can be directly obtained, x bar can be directly obtained, that is the x coordinate of the centroid can be directly obtained in this case. Still we'll calculate it as it is the first example, and we will see how we can easily get it. Now if to tell orally, x bar will be directly 60, okay, the longest side divided by 2, that is 120 divided by 2, x bar will be directly 60, okay, but as this is the first example, let's learn it, then in the further examples we'll do it directly. So next is the second step. Divide the given figure into number of elemental areas. So the given T section can be divided easily into two rectangles. Okay, the first rectangle is of 120 by 10 and the second rectangle is of 10 by 60. So this step is very easy. We have divided our T-shaped figure into two rectangles. So area of the first rectangle is 120 into 10, that is 1200 mm square, whereas the area of the second rectangle is 10 into 60, which is 600 mm square. Now see that when I am finding the area, first I am writing the horizontal dimension, then I am writing the vertical dimension. This is the best practice which you can keep. Okay, don't write the bigger side first. Okay, go with first the horizontal side, then the vertical side. So we have obtained the areas A1 and A2. Now next step is find the distance of centroid of each element with respect to the considered axis. So our axis which we have considered is x and y. What we want to obtain now? Centroidal distance of each element with respect to the considered axis, that is now x1. What is x1? Centroid of the first rectangle. Okay, centroidal distance of the first rectangle with respect to vertical axis is x1, with respect to horizontal axis is y1. I think I have clearly given the things in the figure. It should not be any confusion. Okay, there should not be any confusion. Now similarly for the second element, what is the centroidal distance? Say x2 with respect to one axis, y2 with respect to the other axis. Okay, I have done the marking first. Now here comes the calculation for element 1. What will be x1? Directly x1 will be 120 divided by 2, because we have derived the relationship for centroid of what? Rectangle. What are the centroid for rectangle? B by 2 and D by 2. Okay, horizontal is B by 2. Now here what is B? B is 120 for this rectangle. So B by 2 becomes 120 by 2, which is 60. Now next y1. Okay, now here the point which I had mentioned earlier, that we have to locate the centroidal distance with respect to the axis selected becomes important. Okay, so now we'll go from the axis to the centroid of the element number 1. Okay, so firstly 60, okay, which is the distance of the element from the horizontal axis, 60 plus half of 10, because the centroid of horizontal element, that is element number 1, okay, lies at what point? D by 2. D is how much? 10. So 10 by 2. Okay, 10 by 2 plus 60, because we are locating the distance with respect to the bottom axis. So from the bottom axis to the centroid of this figure, how much is the distance? D by 2, that is 10 by 2 plus 60. Okay, we have to reach the axis, remember that. So we get a answer as 65. Now similarly for element number 2, what will be the distance? x2. x2 again will be 10 by 2. Once we get 10 by 2, move towards which axis? Vertical axis. Okay, 10 by 2 plus remaining distance has to be 55, because total width is 120. From 120, if we subtract the thickness of the web, that is 10, remaining is 110. So one side is 55, other side is 55. So here we get x2 as 10 by 2 plus 55. Okay, and need not worry, as it is a symmetrical figure, you will get 60 itself. Next, when we want to find y2, it is straightforward. Now there is no relation of first element in this case, okay, because our axis is below the second element itself. So directly, what is y2? y2 will be d by 2, that is depth of the second element by 2. Depth of the second element is 60. So 60 by 2 gives us 30. So we get x1, y1, x2, y2. We have got already a1 and a2 in the previous calculation. So with all these values, we can find the centroid, or we can locate the centroid very much easily. So x bar is equal to a1 x1 plus a2 x2 upon a1 plus a2. Now I have written the calculations. a1 x1, all these values are previously calculated, so we get x bar as 60. Now this is what I told, as the figure is symmetrical about vertical axis. Okay, the horizontal component directly will be the half of the longer side, that is x bar we can directly write as 60. But as this is the first example, I wanted to prove that to you all, so I have included that in the calculation. Now similarly, we have to calculate y bar. Y bar will be what? a1 y1 plus a2 y2 divided by a1 plus a2. This is nothing but summation ay upon a. Okay, I have broken it up here. This is nothing but what? Summation ay upon a. So when we substitute all the values and go ahead with the calculation, we get y bar as 53.33. That means our centroid, where it lies at a distance of 60 from the horizontal axis, and at a distance of 60, that is x bar, and y bar, that is the vertical distance, we get it as 53.33, now which we can plot very much easily. Okay, so this is how we have to solve a example. Now this example, as it was the first example, I have broken it in steps. This actually is solved in this way, in very short and sweet format. Okay, so when we look at this format, we can understand how easy the solution is. Rectangle 1, rectangle 2. Firstly, complete one figure, okay, then come to the next figure. So for first rectangle, what is the area? 120 by 10. So what is its y coordinate? What is its x coordinate? That is with respect to y axis, directly 120 by 2. Now these all calculations I have solved step by step, as this was the first example, to make the things easy for you all. Okay, then what is the distance of centroidal distance from x axis? That is y. Okay, 60 plus 10 by 2, that is 65. So your x1 is 60, y1 is 65, and a1 is 1200. Therefore in the next column you can calculate a into x, that is 1200 into 60, which gives you 7200. In the next column you calculate ay, that is 65 into 1200, which gives you an answer of 78,000. So now come down to the rectangle number 2. How will you find the area? First the horizontal element, that is 10 into 60, which is 600. This is nothing but a2. Okay, this is nothing but a2. While making the notes, you can write it if you want. This is a2. Then next you find x2. Okay, x2 is equal to 120 by 2. Okay, x2 is equal to 120 by 2, or as we have done, 10 by 2 plus 55, answer remains 60 itself. Then y2 is nothing but 60 by 2, that is for a rectangle, centroidal axis along the vertical is d by 2, that is half of the depth, which is 30. So here we get a2, x2 and y2. So next step is ax, that is a2 into x2, a2 into y2. So we can directly get the summations, that is summation A is equal to 1800, that is addition of 1200 plus 600. Then summation AX, okay, that is A1 x1 plus A2 x2, that is addition of 72,000 plus 36,000, we get 108,000. Similarly, last column summation is summation AY, that is A1 y1 plus A2 y2, that is 78,000 plus 18,000, we get it as 96,000. So now what are our coordinates? X bar is summation AX upon A. Directly you can take now the values because already we have found the summation. Okay, summation AX upon summation A, we get is 60. Summation AY upon summation A, we get it 53.33. So in detail I have explained you this example. Firstly, I have gone with those 4 steps so that it will be easy for you all to understand. The next I have shown how easily in the table format, once you get a grip, we can solve this. Okay, so if you want to make it in the table format, you can use the page horizontally or in the landscape mode so that you can make the columns of proper width. Okay, so this format will fit in one page if you write it vertically, okay, or portrait mode also. So hope this example is clear. I know this is not that greatly easy, but secondly, I think your portion will be covered like this only. If you yourself don't get back and ask the doubts, it will be very difficult for us to help you all. Okay, don't hesitate. Okay, just come out with your doubts. Otherwise, understanding will be difficult. And don't open all the videos together and sit for a day taking 8-10 videos and screw up your head. Okay, as and when the videos are put up, please go through the examples. Many of you all are very much relaxed. I doubt whether there will be classroom teaching this semester. So whatever e-lectures we are doing, that itself might be the thing on which we have to go ahead. So there might be some revision classes. Maybe, we don't know how the situation will be by this month end. Okay, so please understand these examples and please get back. So now we'll deal with one more example, example number 2. So this is a modified figure. All these markings won't be there except the dimensions. I have directly drawn the figure which is suitable for analyzing. Okay, so here in this case we have a I section. Again we have taken x and y axis such that our entire figure lies in first quadrant. So this I section, when we look at it, again if we divide it vertically, okay, along the centroidal axis, left and right will be the same. But if we divide along horizontal axis, as the below, this the bottom element of I is not matching with the topmost element, okay, if we divide it horizontally, the top and the bottom won't be the same. So here from the figure what we can conclude is figure is symmetrical about which axis? Vertical centroidal axis. Therefore we can get x bar directly. So what will be the value of x bar here? 80 by 2, that is 40. So we need not do any calculation for x bar. Only calculation what has to be done here is now for y bar. Okay, so now let's divide the figure into how many rectangles? Yes, we can divide the figure easily into 3 rectangles. So the first rectangle comes up here. In this rectangle, what can be done is we want to locate y1. x1 is surely 80 by 2, 40, forget it. Let's concentrate on locating y1. y1 is 5 plus 40 plus 24. Now what is 5? 10 by 2, we get it as 5. Then what is 40? The length of the vertical element, that is the length of the flange, is 40. Next, what is 24? The depth of the bottom element is 24. because the axis is at the bottom of the last member. So how it will go? 24 plus 40 plus 10 by 2. Okay, understand what I am telling, try to understand. 24, we are starting from bottom. If we start, first is 24, next is 40, next is 10 by 2, which is 5, because from the centroid of the first element we got to reach the axis. Okay, we got to reach the axis. So this line which is marked y1, understand it is the centroid to the axis. Now similarly in the next figure, what we get in the second figure? We get 20 plus 24. Now what is 20? The vertical element has a depth of 40. So 40 by 2 is 20 plus the last element. Now calculation is easy because see y1 and y2. Okay, in y1 5 plus 40 plus 24. In y2 what will happen? That 5 goes. Okay, 10 by 2 which we have got as 5 goes out. Now 40 becomes 40 by 2, that is 20. 24 remains as it is. So see the sequence. Okay, understand the sequence. First element goes out of the box, we are not considering. Second element is half of its depth, that is 40 by 2, we get it as 20, and third element remains as it is 24. So now by this sequence you should be able to get what should be y3. Okay, y3 will be, now this 20 will go out of the box, no question of taking 20. y3 has to be 24 by 2, which is 12. Okay, y3 has to be directly 24 by 2, which is 12. So here comes y3, so it is marked 24 by 2 because entire depth is 24, and what will be y3? 24 by 2. Don't worry, again I will send you this PDF where you can properly zoom and see the values. So now comes up the easy calculation table. Rectangle 1, 2, 3. Each areas are found out, and centroidal distance as we discussed. Here 24 plus 40 plus 10 by 2 is nothing but 69. So we get A into Y. So last column is A into Y, that is 800 into 69. Okay, 800 into 69. The Y element has gone a bit further, but that last column stands for AY. We are not finding here X because directly X is 40, 80 by 2, 40, because it is based on symmetry. So similarly rectangle 2, 10 into 40 is the area. Then next what are we doing? We are obtaining y2 and then get A into Y. Then third rectangle, it is 25 by 24. So directly y3 is 24 by 2 and obtain AY. Then we get all the summations. Y bar is equal to summation AY upon summation A, which comes out to be 44.44, and X bar we get directly as 40. So our centroidal coordinates are X bar comma Y bar is equal to 40 comma 44.44. Now see that while writing the area of first rectangle, as I told, preferably write it 80 into 10. By mistake we have written here 10 into 80. It is not wrong, but it's a better practice to always write horizontal into vertical for a rectangle. Okay, go through these examples which we have solved. Okay, try to understand them. Any doubts are there, please call up. This topic is very much important from exam point of view and learning point of view also. So examples for practice. Again I have given a T section with changed dimensions. Follow the same steps above and try to get the answers. I have mentioned the answers also, you can cross verify. Then example number 4. Okay, it's a sort of C section where 3 elements are there. Top element is 60 by 10. The vertical element is 128 by 10 and the bottom element is 75 by 12. Okay, axes are mentioned in this. Take these axes itself and try and solve the example. I will expect the solution of these both examples by today evening. Okay, you have to solve these examples on a paper, get the answers. If you are getting wrong answers, please WhatsApp me. Okay, so hope you will follow the given instructions and keep on completing your notes, because when the college starts, the completed notes itself I can take it as one part of assignment. Hope you will follow the instructions, and in the next video we'll go ahead with the further examples. Thank you.